We put a new kitchen. Looks good, right?
If that's a dishwasher,
A dishwasher.
it's gonna be some problems.
Hey guys, Enis with Whiteacre Properties. I'm actually back in Rosendale here today. I think you have seen video number 1. If you haven't, go back. It's called Diamond in the Rough. We are in Rosendale at 594 American Legion Highway. So it's a freezing day. I think it's like single-digit temperature. So let's go inside. I want to see you guys the finished product. Talk about numbers, talk about how we found the property, talk about the BRRRR strategy, this thing right here. I'll explain more what that means, and then we'll wrap it up with some lessons learned. So follow me. Guys, before we start, do me a favor, go and like and subscribe to this channel. I think YouTube values those subscriptions and is going to share the content with a lot more people. That's my goal. My goal is to share this with a lot of you in the greater Boston area or even out of state. So give me some love back, subscribe to the channel, help me out. So like I said, we can share this with a lot more people. All right. If you remember, day 1 was a lot of junk all around. This wall was closed off. We did open it to make it an open floor plan, which everybody likes. So now we put granite countertops, we put new lights, we put brand new cabinets, brand new appliances, new flooring. So I'm definitely happy with the finished product on this one. Living room, new vinyl floors. Obviously it's staged and looks great, but I think all we did was paint the walls, paint the baseboards, paint the trim, and that's all it needed. Really, the flooring made a big difference. So flooring and paint to the space. Let's go to the bathroom right here to my right. So what we did is put new vanity, replace the older one, new light, new mirror, new toilet, and then we replaced the flooring. We had a really bad flooring, I think it was porcelain tile that was all cracked, so that's gone. And then we kept the tub, and it was in good shape. All we had to do was clean it. And we also kept these tiles. These were existing. We thought they were in good shape. It doesn't really, I mean, they go good with the design, so why not? So we didn't want to spend on something that we're not going to get a return on investment. Bedroom number 1 is right here. It's a smaller one. Again, it's vinyl flooring all the way through. So vinyl flooring, fresh paint, and then we fix the doors of the closets a little bit, and that's it. So very little work. Definitely changed doorknobs to make this place fresh and new. So this is the final bedroom. It's bigger than the other one I just showed you guys. Again, it's vinyl flooring throughout, fresh paint, so nothing crazy. Staging makes everything come together perfectly. So we are really happy with the work done by Reimagine Staging. Those girls are amazing. The goal is for me right now, guys, is to show you exactly what we did here, how we purchased it, and the negotiations behind that. So that's the address, 594 American Legion Highway, Unit 8 in Rosendale. So we're right in Boston, in the neighborhood of Rosendale. Good area. This was a direct mail for us. And I think it took a few direct mail touches, as always. People mostly don't call us right away, but he called and scheduled an appointment. So he had a tenant in here. He actually had 2 guys for a very long time. One had passed away and the other one was here. So we took the call, scheduled the appointment as usual, and came out here and did a walkthrough. I believe they were looking for somewhere in the ballpark of 180. Sarah, our agent, and thank you to Sarah for actually signing this deal. She sat down with them, asked a bunch of questions about, you know, how soon he wanted to sell, what was the situation with tenants, and I realized that the problem is that this tenant actually had no place to go. He had been here for a long time. He was elderly. I think he was in disability, and where was he going to go? So the price wasn't a problem. Mostly the problem was identifying the situation with the tenant. So I believe our offer was 135. They were looking for 180. We went back and forth. and signed at 145,000 for 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Rosendale, which is a good deal. But I'll show you how we got to that 145 and why it was a good deal to us. However, the reason the seller signed, and he didn't sign right away, we had to go back and forth, was because we said, you know what, we'll sign with you and then wait until the tenant is out. Tenant had applied with Boston Housing, and I think he had been waiting for 3 years. So we were hoping that at this point we could really expedite that process and help him, help the tenant move out. The tenant was a friend of the seller. The tenant had been here for a long time, so the seller didn't really want to sell and get rid of them. He wanted to make this a win-win all around. We focused on that. We provided a solution and said, look, we'll sign the contract. When the tenant is out, we'll close. And that was a win-win. That's what he was looking to do. Price was okay for him. He came down to our price and signed on the contract. So we're gonna go and discuss the 70% rule again and why the numbers made sense. But for now, just wanna point out that it's not always about the price, it's also about the other important things to someone. Closing on their timeline, maybe tenant situation, you need to understand what's important to them. In this case, Sarah signed it, and then I believe for the next 3 months, she was helping the tenant coordinate with the Boston Housing to really find him a place, and we got lucky. I think it took us 3 months, but then he got assigned an apartment in downtown Boston from Boston Housing. At that moment, we went to closing. The tenant moved out, and I think within a couple of days, we went on record. The reason why we didn't want to close with the tenant in here is, first, our lender doesn't like that. We had a hard money lender, and especially what's going on right now with COVID and the moratorium on evictions, getting a tenant and inheriting a tenant, you never know if they're gonna leave. They might stay here forever. They might stop paying rent. And we bought this property not as a rental investment, we bought this as a condo. So it was definitely important to us not to buy with tenant in place, but to buy it vacant. So that's why we made the deal work. The seller had no other options, honestly. He couldn't put it on the market because who was gonna buy it with a tenant in place and the situation that is in. So purchase price, $145,000. We purchased this in December 2020. So we are actually on the MLS right now, and it's end of January 2021. So this is literally 40 days of renovations so far. And we have an open house Saturday and Sunday, so hopefully we're gonna get an offer and then we can go to closing. How did we come up with 145? If you have been watching some of our videos, you know that the way we run numbers is we always follow the 70% rule. It's a rule that just if we follow it, we know we're gonna make a profit at the end of the process. So I'm a licensed agent. I went on the MLS, I looked at other comparable sales and determined that 250,000, it's a conservative ARV, after repair value price for this condo. And the way I did it is, this is a complex. I think there's probably about 30 apartments in these 2 buildings. And I didn't go into another area. I didn't go into another building. I was looking for another apartment comparable sale in this building, because that's the best thing to do. Because if there is an apartment that's sold within 6 months in similar condition to this one, in this building, that's it. That's your comp right there. And there was one. I wasn't happy with one. Typically we want to see at least 2 or 3, but I went back 12 months, 6 months, and there was only one. And I felt comfortable enough that reflected market value. So I took that comparable sale. That one sold for $240,000. It was a 1-bedroom. Ours is a 2-bedroom. And I thought it was good. I thought I could live with that comp. So 70% rule. Let me explain that really quick and show you guys how we came up with the 145 price. So it means you take the ARV times 70% minus repairs. That is the offer price, maximum allowable offer. If we translate this into real numbers for this condo in Rosendale, I'll put down 250 for ARV times 70% minus, I believe I have $30,000 for renovations. And that gives me a price of exactly $145,000. That's the maximum price. Doesn't mean that we start there, because when you negotiate, if you give the highest price first, then you have no room to go up, right? You can't negotiate at that point. So Sarah started at 135, knowing that we have about $10,000 of wiggle room there to negotiate. They were looking for 180. We said, I think she came up to 140, and then finally she told me, look, Enis, if you want to sign this, 145 is his bottom line, which matches with my maximum allowable offer. So I said, yeah, go for it. We got a deal. So she signed at 145, again, by following the 70% rule, which I highly recommend because it's going to guarantee that you guys make a profit at the end. Let me talk about condos really quick. We don't do a lot of condo flips. And the reason is because we don't do a lot of marketing for them. I think we should do a lot more, because they're much easier. If you are in a condo complex, you don't have a roof to replace. You don't have siding to replace usually. You might have windows, but usually that's not the case, because all windows typically are done by the condo association. You don't have landscaping. You don't have any of the exterior work that you have on a single family. So the amount of work that goes into it is a lot less. And Boston has this 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments, which you can turn them around quickly, and for, mostly they are cosmetics. So especially for you guys that are just getting into the business as a fix and flip, if that's your strategy, condos are great. I feel like you can go in and out, do a good job. The risk is small because you're not gonna change the structure, you're not gonna move walls. It is what it is, and you just do cosmetics, maybe kitchen, bathrooms, some flooring, right? Small line items that's not gonna kill you. So highly recommend condos for sure. And I think from the experience we've got lately, we're gonna do probably a lot more marketing towards condos and do a lot more of this. All right, let's move over to, so I talked about the value proposition. I'm gonna go back really quick to making sure that you guys understand it's not always about price. Make sure that the value you bring to a seller, it's what they're looking for. In this case was the tenant situation. Let me talk really quick about the rehab budget and how much we ended up spending. So we were looking to spend in the ballpark of 30,000, and I haven't actually added everything up, but it looks we are pretty much there, plus or minus a couple $1,000. So we did the kitchen. We did it. We took out the old kitchen and put a brand new. Spent about let's say $12,000 to put the kitchen, and that includes new cabinets for about $5,000. We put in granite countertops for $2,000. You got the appliances, another $3,000, and then we had some kitchen backsplash for tile, about $1,000, and then you have electric and plumbing. You have plumbing because you have a new faucet, you have a dishwasher that you need to hook up. Let's say for those two items, it's like about $1,500, and then you have electric because we had to replace and move the electric switches in the existing kitchen because we changed the layout a little bit. So let's say that's another $1,500. And they also installed the pendant, the flush mount light in the kitchen. So there's some work for these guys. So if you add everything up, I'm just talking rough numbers, but just to give you guys an idea. Flooring, we did vinyl flooring. Vinyl flooring alone, it's about $2,000 in materials for the luxury vinyl, and then let's say another $1,000 to install it. So you're looking at $3,000, but it's gonna make a big difference. This house this unit had carpet, and it was just in rough shape and was dirty, so we had to remove everything, and now it looks brand new, nice and clean. You got luxury vinyl flooring, which is great. All right, flooring, paint. I believe paint was somewhere in the ballpark of $2,500, and then we did some structural work because we opened the kitchen wall, so you got some, I think it was about $1,000 for that as well. Then we got staging. Staging in this case was $1,800, which is money well spent. So if you add everything up, again, the big ticket items being kitchen and flooring, had to paint everything, electric and plumbing, definitely. One of the things that we did for plumbing, not in the kitchen, but outside of it, is the changing the water heater. We had a water heater that was leaking, so we had to remove that. Our plumbing bill was somewhere in the ballpark of $2,500, and same with electric, because again, they have to change all the lights, update the smoke detectors and all that. So all in, we are within our budget. But as you notice, this is not something that's crazy. Anybody can do it. And a lot of these items you can do it yourself. You can, if you choose, you can paint yourself. If you choose, you can install the flooring yourself. So as a first project, this type of work, it's perfect for you guys. All right, guys, let's go over the BRRRR strategy really quick. I personally think it would be perfect for anyone to buy this and keep it as a rental. And this is why it makes sense. So what does BRRRR stand for? Again, it's a word that Bigger Pockets came up with. I love it because it's just easy to explain and to remember. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. The only reason why it works is if you want to keep the property, right? In this case, you could buy with a hard money lender, or you can buy it with your own cash or family and friends. You buy it right. Always use the 70% rule to buy it right. You have to renovate it, so bring a contractor, do it yourself, whatever, but you are adding value by fixing it. Then once the property is done, you go and bring a tenant in. In this case, this would rent somewhere in the ballpark of $2,400. Now you brought a tenant in. So again, this is right now you have a hard money lender or your own money into the deal. You brought a tenant, added value with the renovations, and then you go to a local bank. Let's say you go to East Boston Savings or any of the local banks here, Dedham Savings around the corner, and say, I want to refinance this property. Great. What they're going to do is they're going to send an appraiser over to look at the property condition, look at comparable sales, and put a value on the property. So most likely they're going to give a value, just for easy math, of $250,000. That's the property value from the appraiser. The bank will give you an 80% loan to value. Some might give you a 75% loan to value, some might give you an 85% loan to value, but just again, for easy math, we'll say the bank will give you an 80% loan to value loan to you. They're going to lend 80% of the value of the property because they want you to have skin in the game, right? If you don't make payments, they can still foreclose on you, and there is equity in the property from day one. That's why they do that. 250,000 times 80%, it's actually $200,000. That's your loan. Now, if you go back and look at how much money you spent, how much are you all in on this apartment right now? You purchased it for $145,000. You spent $30,000 renovating it. Personally, we have a hard money lender that charged us 2 points upfront and 12% annual interest. And I believe that number for the lender, our expense with the lender, let's say we keep this property for 3 months, would be $7,500. And I'm gonna break this also to show you guys exactly how we came up with that. So that's an expense. And then you have the closings. When you purchase the property, there was a closing. So the attorney fee, the recording fees, the title fees, the title insurance, that is somewhere in the ballpark of $5,000. It's maybe, that number is a little high, but I'm thinking of your refinance cost too, because there's fees there, and when you purchase the condo. So these are your fees all in so far. If you were in my shoes right now, that's my cost right now. So I'm all in $190,000. That's how much money I got invested in this apartment. But the bank is going to give you $200,000, right? So what happens is with that $200,000, you can pay the lender back. You can pay obviously all this cost, and at closing you'll be able to collect probably about $10,000. Or even if you don't get anything, even if you don't get any money at closing, it means that now you have this long-term loan, a 30-year loan, let's say at 3% or 4%, and you had zero money put into it because all the money that you invested, you actually recaptured it back. I hope it makes sense. The BRRRR strategy doesn't work in Boston a lot because prices are so high. That's why if you buy the 70% rule, that's why if you buy the discount, if you save on renovations, either doing it yourself or with a team that you work with, that's how you achieve the BRRRR strategy. In this case, let's say I went to the closing, I refinanced and got $10,000 out. This is tax-free. So when you refinance and get money out of property, it's tax-free. So that's money you can put in your bank, never pay taxes on it. So that's the most beautiful thing right there. That's why the BRRRR strategy is important. All right, the other way is if you wanted to buy this condo and you don't do the BRRRR, you'd come to the open house tomorrow and put an offer in. First of all, you'd have a hard time because there's going to be other people here and it's probably going to turn into a bidding war. But you'd come in and let's say you submit an offer for $250,000 and you're going to have to put 20% down when you go to talk to a lender, because that's their purchase price. Now, yes, you're going to come in and it's all nicely done. You don't have to do a thing, but you're going to pay market value and you're going to go to a bank and pay 20% down. And that 20% down, it means that you have to bring $50,000 at closing to buy this property when you go in and when the lender finishes all the paperwork and you're ready to close. That's the money that you're going to bring to the closing for a property that you're paying $250, right? If you sourced this property on your own, did all the work, your existing loan is only $190,000 and you put zero money into it. That's why this is a great strategy, because and the final R was repeated. You should take the money out, and invest into the next one. By taking money out, it's not only the $10,000, but when you get $190,000, it's all this money that it should be coming back to you, and you can repeat this into the next deal. Again, the alternative is for you to have $50,000, put that down, buy one condo, and then wait probably a year, 2 years, 3 years until you save that much money and buy the next one. And you're paying market value. This way, you only have a loan for $190,000 instead of $250,000. So, BRRRR strategy allows you to grow your investment portfolio much, much quicker. Again, guys, I hope it makes sense. If you have any questions, go and comment down or email me at enis@whiteacreproperties.com. But I think commenting on YouTube, it's perfectly fine, as I keep an eye on those. Guys, thank you so much for calling, texting, and emailing. I've been getting some good feedback lately from all of you that you like the content. I've promised to give you local stuff. I'm in the greater Boston area, so I'm only going to give you content from here that's relative and it's local and the numbers are real. And I promise to do this once a week. So look forward to getting one video a week from me. Lessons learned. Really quick, as we were filming this, we had someone from the HOA just walk in on us. Have you seen the property?
I have not.
Okay, you want me to give you a tour? All right. It's okay. Yeah, so we put flooring, we put a new kitchen. Looks good, right?
It doesn't, dishwasher.
The dishwasher.
There's gonna be some problem.
Why? Oh, really? For the leaking or anything?
Yeah, no one here has a dishwasher.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, it was in the condo docs that I sent to Sarah and gave to Thomas at closing.
Oh, okay.
Because
I didn't see that. Maybe I skipped through it.
Well, we've got a problem with.
Thank you.
Here's the issue. It's an old building.
Yeah.
They weren't built with dishwashers.
The condo association, and we did stop the video and show them around, and just realized that we installed a dishwasher that we weren't supposed to. That's a lesson learned right here on the spot live, and that's a lesson learned that I'm going to apply next time, because now when we buy a condo, you have to read the condo regulations, and he said that on the condo regulations it says clearly no dishwasher. So we spent some money that we shouldn't have spent, and now we have to take the dishwasher out and put another cabinet or maybe a wine cooler or something like that to close that space. That's one lesson learned right there. That's fresh, that it just happened. And then what else? I think, yeah, reading that condo regulations again for the rental side, I think he just mentioned that we cannot sell this property to an investor. It has to be someone that comes in and it's going to live here. That might affect the price a little bit, because I know we're going to have investors here that want to come and buy it, and they can't. It has to be a owner occupied, and we weren't aware of that either. So that might affect price. So 2 lessons learned that I wanted to share with you. I think this is good for today. Please go back and look at the prior video, the diamond in the rough, to see the before, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Please comment, share, give us some love online, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.